Man, I was trying to do a fishing quest, but I guess I'll just have to explore the vast collection of equipment, enemies, and bonuses from the Blood Moon Terraria somewhere in the range. Alright, so, yeah, I might be glazing a little bit, but the Terraria Blood Moon is genuinely amazing. Simply just the longevity and consistency of the event gives this thing some crazy weight. Now, I don't want to confidently make the claim that this is the best event, but this is the best event. So today I'm going to provide my case for why this thing is so very nice and do a little comparing afterwards because, like, is it the best? We'll see. So first off, I want to focus on this longevity aspect that I mentioned. It's definitely the most important bit in my opinion. See, the Blood Moon spans across pre-hard mode and hard mode, but instead of just adding one enemy with fairly good drops in hard mode, we got a whole new gang. Like, the band got back together with a bunch of new guys, and it's better now? Like, dang, that never happens. For now though, let's focus on pre-hard mode, and before we get into drops, I need to mention all of this stuff is obtainable square one pre-boss, and it could possibly be found on night 1, assuming you have 120 health, which is just a single life crystal. Okay, so for the first drop, it's gonna be you dropping a sub on the channel. For real though, I'm shooting for 10k subs at the moment, and if you enjoy, give the button a little nudge. Thank you. Okay. So I promise, the actual first drop I want to start with is the money trough, of course. This thing can be used to its full extent from the very beginning to the very end. Top tier item if we're being honest. The shark tooth necklace is beautifully useful for pre-hard mode as well, especially after its combination with a honeycomb, which allows you to double up on these guys if you're feeling that 10 armor penetration level of crazy. So now, some of you might be thinking, what else is there for pre-hard mode other than vanity? Fishing! Fishing. I love fishing so much. Okay, let me set the stage. You start up a new world, and in the first day, you find a life crystal, hit that lucky 1 in 9 blood moon chance, so you grab an iron rod and some worms you got from a can to fish up some blood moon enemies into a little box, take them out at the end of the night, and bang! 4 splendid new items at your disposal. Obviously, you need to be pretty lucky to make this happen, especially because the blood moon is a 1 in 9 chance each night, but you know, it doesn't have to be the first night. Aside from that though, the first and the best of these 4 drops is the Vampire Frog Staff, and wow, these little fellas are great. Literally a summoning weapon that can outclass both imps and hornets in the Wall of Flesh fight, and you get it pre-boss. Now we're seeing that longevity thing I mentioned again. Moving on from absolute peak, the Blood Rainbow is another blood moon fishing weapon that's pretty dang good, especially for being a little cave goblin to take out groups of enemies without forcing yourself into the action. The gimmick here is what makes it better for longer than what its damage can do, if that makes any sense. The other 2 items are fishing related, being the Chum Bucket and the Chum Caster. Both good for early game fishing for sure, and the Chum Caster comes in handy in hard mode too. Moving on, let's transition into good old hard mode, where we start to find you. This only applies to like 6 people. For real though, clowns are pretty decent, giving us the Bananarang, which is actually my favorite weapon, and it's also super solid functionally. Also, any hard mode blood moon enemies can drop a KO cannon, which... Then after clowns, we got one of the... What is that? Fishing! And of course, fishing makes a generational comeback after being goated in pre-hard mode too. This time we got 3 new enemies and a second handful of loot. First off, another summon weapon, the Sanguine Staff. This is pretty good, especially if you can get your hands on it off the rip, because it's pretty much going to mog the Spider Staff in just about any situation. It's not going to put in Vampire Frog levels of longevity, but it can nicely take you through mechs very effectively, and if you decide you want to turn the rest of the game into a party trick, Sanguine Staff puts in great work for pre-mech Duke Fish Run. Moving on, the Drippler Crippler. This thing bangs for both early pre-hard mode boss fights and as a harvesting tool. Am I losing my mind? The last hard mode blood moon fishing weapon is the Blood Rose? Doesn't sound right. Bloodthorn. Yep, that makes sense. If I'm being honest, this thing's kind of forgettable and it's nothing all that special other than it looks pretty fire. Most important thing here is a pretty nice ham axe that can keep up with the phone hammer. Bravo. Okay, so that's about all there is for important drops. The only thing I left out was vanity, but I'm gonna leave that out for the sake of not trying to seep in too much bias. So now for the third and definitely more forgotten bit of the Blood Moon is all the little bonuses and quirks that this event has that really ties it together. First thing is the spawn rate increase for the surface, which can actually be super beneficial for farms that you have on the surface. On top of that, blood moons are one of the times you can harvest deathweed and actually get seeds from it, which is pretty massive for making some pretty important potions. Finally then, a whole bunch of extra NPC sold and fished items exist here too, like fishing can give you advanced combat techniques, and NPCs sell all sorts of goodies, but most importantly, vile and vicious powder based on your world's evil, a couple of ammo types, weapons like slap hand and throwing knives, and finally, this goopy goodness. Yummy yummy. Okay, anyways, how does this all stack up against the other 15 Terraria events? I don't want this to drag too much, so let's eliminate some pretty obvious ones. I feel like I can confidently say that the Blood Moon is a better event than the Party, Slime Rain, Sandstorm, Torch God, Windy Day, Frost Legion, Celestial Pillars, and Pirate Invasion. They're all off the board. I feel like I'm sparking the flame for an event ranking video right now because this is really difficult. These are the other events that aren't immediately worse than the Blood Moon, and from here, it's super difficult to make any sort of conclusions. I will confidently say though, no, the Blood Moon is not the best Terraria event. The rest is kind of in your hands, and hey, I mean, keep watch for that event video, because this got some gears turning. And that's going to be about everything. If you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching, and check out the next one on screen, you'll probably like it too. Also, drop a like and a sub, and thanks to the channel members on the left there. Have a good one, bye bye.